Oh boy, we got another huge lawsuit against Valve that just popped up today. Recently, Valve's been catching lawsuits like Pokemon, and they are fresh off a W against the Rothschilds. Only a week ago, they squeaked out this huge W against the Rothschilds. I can't emphasize enough just how impressive that is to beat them. That's like beating Umbrella Corp. Like that was an incredible win for Valve there. And now they immediately go into round two here with a lawsuit from the New York Attorney General Letitia James, basically claiming that Valve knowingly promotes illegal gambling with their loot boxes in games like CS2, Dota 2, and TF2 that is accessible and even targeted at minors. Now, this is far from the first time this has been a big subject. In fact, many of you might remember in 2018, Belgium actually had a loot box ban. This was during the incredible EA era where they put their own dick in their ass as much as possible with the, sense of pride and accomplishment and surprise
That's kind of stupid.
mechanic spin they tried to put on like loot box.
Some of my fondest memories are like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I know that's a hot take. It's not the greatest game out there, but the advanced supply drops opening them was a blast.
Boxes and shit. And Belgium eventually ruled that it was predatory, it was a game of chance that would lead to profit or loss.
I can see why it would be perceived as predatory though. Yeah.
And thus they banned it in Belgium. And fast forward to today, you can't open CS cases in Belgium, it seems. Now, at the time, this was a pretty big deal, and the US and the UK also tried to make arguments that, yeah, this does constitute gambling, but as they went through the process, they then declared that it's not really gambling because you're getting an actual in-game item, you're not getting money. But now, to today, they are now saying that because it has grown so much, this ecosystem through these loot boxes where some items are selling for thousands of dollars, or even the famous AK that sold for $1 million not that long ago. And then there's also like these third-party sites that are using CS cases and CS items to instantly turn it into money, where it is just full-blown gambling casinos based around CS items. So they are saying that Valve can no longer use the excuse of, no, it's just in-game cosmetic items. They are now saying that it isn't just a cosmetic in-game item, it carries very real monetary value that leads to people getting addicted to gambling and trying to win them, fundamentally.
That's
Now,
a
it
fair
seems like
argument.
Valve might have seen the writing on the wall at some point because they have been making changes to the way this functions in CS. So, like, they have done, like, Genesis Terminal stuff like that to try and change things around a little bit to avoid falling into hot water, but the hot water has come. And Valve is far from the only gaming company that has mechanics like this. It's a very standard industry norm now when it comes to like loot boxes and cosmetics that carry real world value, especially in mobile games, for example.
I guess we'd be better off without it. We'd probably get more quality games. I cannot lie.
And other companies have been hit in the past by lawsuits alleging illegal gambling practices in their games. Valve is just the latest target, and they are by far the biggest one. And in the lawsuit, there is some really sketchy stuff. Like, there is a whole section about games causing violence. For some reason, they decided to just fucking
Back to that
toss that
again.
little sour nugget in there for no fucking reason. The most dunked upon, the most spit upon, the most debunked nonsense talking point ever. They decided to slide into this lawsuit against Valve on illegal gambling practices. And also, they have very misleading stuff in there, like this section here, where they're saying that they have these near miss mechanics where
This is fucking... Really?
they'll show you the gold item and then you'll stop one slot right before it. You'll get the worthless item right next to it while seeing the gold to keep you hooked, like, oh, I was that close, I'll get back into the Crucible now. Except that doesn't happen in CS anymore. That hasn't been the case since, like, what, fucking 8 years ago or something? They changed that a long time ago. If you see a gold, you're getting a gold. If it was a red item there, then that would be real, but that screenshot they show there is just fraudulent. And also, apparently, it's taken from an Oni Pixel stream where he even got the gold item there.
You can actually see a Twitch chat with an emote from Oni Pixel. And when they
What?
tracks down the exact stream the screenshot is from, he actually wins the knife in the clip. So just blatant misinfo.
Like you and Nate.
That's a certified objection moment right there. That is just blatantly wrong. On purpose. That is very, very deceptive there.
And it's proof that it was just thrown together.
So, anyway, there is some funkiness in this lawsuit that's very fishy. Anyway, we're going to get more into the nitty-gritty here in a moment that I was going through on stream. But I do believe most people agree that CS skins and the skin economy, the cases, and all of the shit that spawned as a result of it, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry here from the cosmetics. I think most people agree it does very much revolve around gambling. That is a real thing, and that means
Yeah.
it'll be a really interesting lawsuit to see how it all shit.
I almost want to suggest, like, oh, if every skin was, like, unlockable, but just the most expensive ones are turned into, like, achievements that are, like, really hard to get. But then everybody's gonna get it eventually, anyway, if you put in enough effort, you can get anything. That will lower the value of all the skins. I think part of the appeal of Counter-Strike skins, stuff like that, is the value of it, not just how it looks. Because then it would be as valuable as a Call of Duty camo, which anybody can unlock with enough effort, time.
Takes out, because I think it will be difficult for Valve to once again say, like, no, these are just in-game items, there's no, like, real money there at all, because it's a huge, huge, huge industry now. And this is a very big deal lawsuit that would have wide-reaching effects across many different games, because again, it's not like Valve is the only one that has things like this. Even League of Legends has Hextech cases or crates and Hextech keys, so this is a very big lawsuit. I do find it interesting that they've gone after Valve here for their first big fish, especially in an era where things like fucking Polymarket and Kalshi are extremely accessible to literally everyone and all.
That's a great point. Florida is taxing OnlyFans models, but the rest of the U.S. everywhere needs to start doing that. That problem needs to be extinguished. It's needed to have been extinguished for years now already.
Are, by all possible definitions, just gambling, despite how they try and spruce it up by calling it, well, prediction market, that kind of shit. I am somewhat surprised that they wouldn't start going after them.
OnlyFans as a service should be expunged. Gambling gets very complicated.
When that is becoming very, very normalized to the point where even fucking CNN has a Kalshi partnership. Instead, they would rather go hog wild and laser focus on Valve of all things. That is an interesting decision, if you ask me. You heard Valve is being sued by the New York Attorney General for promoting illegal gambling through loot boxes?
Yeah, there's this.
I did. In the lawsuit, they say video games cause violence and Valve is responsible. In the gambling lawsuit, they say that? New York sues Valve, alleging its loot boxes are quintessential gambling. Letitia James seeks to stop Valve from promoting gambling features in games like CS2. Since when does Verge not...
This is... Oh, yeah, but what's happening in New York right now?
New York's new mayor basically called open season on NYPD, as apparently you can send the police to the hospital with zero fear of arrest, as a recent blizzard brought down 2 feet of snow, to which
So these are police officers, and there's a basically a mob pelting them with snowballs because the mayor said you can get away with that or something like that. Or the premier or whoever. Who?
with Freedom News seeing PD trying to OC spray their way out of there.
The mayor, I think.
Attacking all fights seem insignificant. It's insane that they felt safe in attacking armed coppers, as reportedly several officers were injured, actually sending some of them to the hospital, with the Fed saying there needs to be prosecutions. And even though NYPD
Snowballs can actually cause serious damage if there's stuff in them.
called for assistance in identifying some of these attackers, the police commissioner stated there was investigations. The governor brushed it off as unacceptable, with Mayor Mamdani basically saying nothing, only to later suggest no charges.
From the videos that I've seen, it looks like a snowball fight. I think that there were 2 officers who were facing lacerations on their face.
All for prosecution of those who pelted them?
Look, I've seen the videos of this snowball fight. I think that it was a snowball fight.
The NYPD says
For it to be a snowball fight, both parties need to be engaging in with positive intent.
no arrests have been made.
Again, basically shrugging it off.
Police department put out 4 pictures of people they're looking for, saying that they may have assaulted police officers. I wonder what your reaction to that is, if you think that they should be prosecuted if they're caught, and if you've talked to the police commissioner about that.
So I stay in regular touch with my police commissioner, and I appreciate the work that she's doing. You know, I've said time and time again that having seen these videos, to me it was a snowball fight that got out of hand.
Practically saying nothing stops them from doing it again.
I said that what I saw was a snowball fight. It should be treated accordingly. It was one that got out of hand, but that's what it was. Thank you.
What do...
So, Mr. Mayor, are you willing to revise your statement regarding the snowball fight, given that this was not exactly a friendly back-and-forth snowball fight? The police that were there were not throwing any snowballs. They were getting pelted themselves. And number 2, have you considered, or would you consider banning these crowdsourcing events, because they can and sometimes do get out of hand?
So I'm not going to be banning snowball fights or organized snowball fights.
As
That's not what it was.
New York police now know, your boss sees no issue with you getting sent to the hospital, what should be no surprise from the guy that previously thought cops crying is nature healing. And as much as it sucks to be NYPD under Mamdani, it's actually much worse to be a defenseless citizen under Mamdani, as when the police don't feel empowered enough to defend themselves from attacks, what makes you think they do more for random strangers than themselves? As all these idiots forget, defunding the police really means empower the predators, as Maryland is a prime example of what happens when the cops are too terrified to enforce the law.
God damn.
New video showing the moment a masked mob attacked a police cruiser in Maryland. The incident taking place during a chaotic street takeover over the weekend, as agitators blocked traffic in all directions while others performed high-speed donuts in their cars.
As previously, citizens were afraid to speed in front of the cops, but deep blue cities now look more like GTA 6 than America. And it's not like once these EBT tribes defeat the police, they suddenly become law-abiding citizens, incapable of assault, and go back to their office jobs in accounting. No. Once they realize there aren't any consequences, they'll go on to victimize the same idiots who voted to castrate the coppers, cried away their own two-way rights, demanded unlimited amounts of unvetted individuals get free housing in their own neighborhoods, and always appear incredibly fragile and defenseless. And even though NYC has only seen warning signs so far, this is definitely going to become their reality. As Mom Donnie now moves to defund the NYPD, canceling 5,000
Why?
new police officers, totaling $22 million of police budget cuts, as he now has a $5 billion with a B deficit. And even though they're raising property taxes on regular citizens and raiding their pensions, it's not for services for those same citizens, but free childcare for undocumented individuals that apparently don't even speak English.
Hola. Mi español no es el
Bringing in equally socialist and useless AOC to say, in Spanish, any parent in New York City, regardless of your job, income, or immigration status, can get, quote, free 3K or pre-K childcare services, aka paid for by other people's tax dollars. And after what happened in Minneapolis, I wonder if that's code for foreign fraud, as that's their party's official priority. Why defend the police who defend the citizens that fund the city with their tax dollars when they only see them as low IQ tax cattle, whose only purpose is to provide the Democrats with votes and cash that is immediately turned over to their newcomers? I'd say this happened so gradually nobody even noticed, but no, this is only 2 months in. I just hope all these idiots leaving the city realize that this was their doing and don't vote for the same nonsense once they move away. So if you appreciate my insights...
Yes, that's I'd say that's a bit of an unrealistic expectation of them. Oof. I'd rather be in Nova Scotia than New York. I'd rather be in Alberta than Nova Scotia. I'd rather be in Florida than Alberta. Some people get a handout completely unrelated or removed from their supposed identity. Certain people get a handout just because they're a certain race. So Mark Miller gave $200 million in Canada to only black organizations. That's openly racist. That's contributing to discrimination, not fighting it. It's inherently discriminatory. But yeah, there's lots of societal imbalance. People can just exploit and degrade themselves and others. People get special treatment in Canada and the US, in all of the West. It's a big problem. Be sure to check out my Discord server where you can chat about almost anything. Be sure to check out my TikTok where I post some political stuff, but mostly just funny stuff as well, and a little bit of both. Do subscribe. The goal is to be the most subscribed Vince on YouTube. My name means to conquer. You can help me do that. I hope this was a genuinely entertaining and enjoyable watch. Cheers.